I worked with you for 2 years.
And I was your best employee.
I think you was the only employee. Bank holiday weekend.
Yeah.
And she woke up the same time on Saturday, on Sunday, on Monday, and on the school day. Give me a break. I didn't plan the wedding. I attended. My wife, she said it was like a project for her. Right. So she done really well. I picked my suit and I turned up. That's it.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Harry's Daughter. I'm Natalie and I'm with my co-host
Dad, better known as Harry.
And today we have another special guest. He is a brother, not biologically because he's the only child, but a friend, a father, a businessman, an overall that guy. And we have Mr. TJ.
On the left.
You gonna say hi to the
TJ.
people?
Hi, everybody.
TJ, I'm so excited to have you, but I'm nervous at the same time.
I'm very nervous.
Why are you nervous?
Because you're scary.
Do you want me to put this on the internet?
No.
Sorry. I'll behave.
TJ makes it out like I'm a terrorist, I'm really bad, but I'm actually not. I'm not. I think I need new guests and a new co-host. But yeah.
I'll say no more.
Dad, we had this in one of the other episodes. You called me a bully, I called you a bully.
That's what I was saying to TJ earlier on.
Don't pollute TJ.
I already know.
Where do you know this from?
I worked with you for 2 years.
And I was your best employee.
I think you was the only employee.
Right, that makes you the best still.
Yeah.
You were the best.
Yes.
Yeah, and then even when you got more employees, I was still the best. Bar one person. When she came, I even said, she's amazing.
Yeah, so when we had two, you were number two.
Yeah, but then when we had 3 and 4, I was still number 2.
Yeah, you can have that.
Okay. Anyways, the reason why I wanted to have a conversation with TJ is just because I feel like his life is so interesting. I know he doesn't think it is, but like he's accomplished so much and done so much that I'm like, wow, you're still so young. How did you do all of that? So yeah, we're just going to talk about life, fatherhood journeys, not fatherhood journeys, business, being your own boss, running your own company, having employees, managing life, your faith, just all of the things that we can cover in 30 minutes, basically. So, TJ, my first question to you, I'm going to go backwards, not starting from like when you became a father. How many kids do you have?
So I've got 4 kids.
How many boys, how many girls?
2 boys, 2 girls. Girl, boy, boy, girl.
Yeah. And so you're young and you have 4 kids. Like, how does that
He
feel?
looks young, but he's not that young.
I'm not that young.
He's in his early 30s.
Yeah, I'm 33 next month. But I started young, right? So I had my first kid at 19.
Oh, there you go.
Another young dad. How
So,
did you feel?
I think at the time, obviously I was young. I didn't really realise that it was real and permanent.
We've heard that before.
Yeah, so I was really excited. I like this idea of like I'll rock up to uni and I'll bring my kid and people were like, wow, he's a dad. And I think I was a bit delusional at the time, but that's how I felt at the time.
Yeah.
Obviously now looking back on it and knowing 19-year-olds, I'm like, you guys are young, like too young to have children. So yeah.
And then how does it compare to now the baby of the family? Like now being a dad 4 times over, a lot older. Is it stark difference or still similar feeling?
So in a weird way, it's actually harder now.
Oh.
Because my life is more established. I've got more things going on. Back then, I just had to go to uni. Even though I dropped out of uni for a year. So I basically just had to go to gym and eat. And that was it. So it was easier in that sense. Whereas now I've got a lot of things going on. And then also having other children that I've got to think about. What do they need from me? What does my family need? Blah, blah, blah. So it's harder. But at the same time, I feel a lot more established now. I feel like the things my children need, I can actually provide. But before, I could give time and I had a lot of it.
Yeah.
Now,
so it's like
not
a
so much
trade-off.
time.
Yeah. Wait, I don't think when I said the intro, did I say husband? Because
Probably. I hope so.
I hope so.
I don't think you did, you know.
Please, he's married with 4 kids. Very married.
Yeah.
Very married. I was just thinking, wait.
Trying to get TJ in trouble, too.
Yeah.
10
I
years
don't want
next year.
10 years.
Wow.
Wow. You just did everything young.
Everything young. So graduated, got married the same week.
Same
As
with
your
the graduation.
Yeah. So my wife's dad lives out of the country, so he came for one. So let's do both.
Wow, amazing.
Wait, so how did you plan a wedding and your graduation? And like with your exams?
So ironically, we were talking about this yesterday with a couple that we're mentoring. I didn't plan the wedding. I attended. So my wife, she said it was like a project for her. So she done really well to do her dissertation, do uni, plan a wedding. I picked my suit and I turned up. That's it.
So she was at uni as well at the same time. You both at uni at the same time.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I don't know how she done that, thinking back on it.
That's so ridiculous.
But
But
it's
that's
crazy.
very you. I feel like when I see these TikToks of like the husbands that just like have to turn up like at the airport, like, oh, where are we going on holiday now? Like, I feel like that's you.
Yeah, it is. And I'm acknowledging that it's not good.
Oh, you think
Yeah.
it's not good?
It's great for me and it's not fair on the other
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, because she does all the planning,
Literally.
the prep.
Yeah.
Then all you have to do is take 7 minutes to pack your suitcase.
That's it, 7 minutes. Even that is pushing. I'm down to like 3 to 4 minutes now.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
No.
3 to 4 minutes.
And
You
then-
just go boxers, socks, vest, t-shirt, shorts, sliders, and then toiletries in the morning. It's a very simple process.
Oh, to be a
and one
man.
date night outfit.
One.
Yeah.
What if you go more than one date night?
You can wear the same one.
Just a different shirt.
I just can't fathom because when I travel, I like to be prepared for all instances and I have to pack accordingly. But because I hate packing, I leave packing to the last minute and then I get a bit overwhelmed because I feel like there's so much to do, but I don't want to forget anything and then it just takes me a bit of a while.
She packs, and when she packs, it's 2 suitcases literally for one
2?
person. I mean, it
It's
feels
one.
that way.
It's one suitcase, but it's heavy.
Our last holiday, we both went in one suitcase. The small one, the carry-on,
For 2 people?
for 2 people.
That's ridiculous.
No.
No.
I can't
Efficiency.
believe that there.
Yeah, I even took a picture.
You got to send us. We have to do that there. Seriously.
No. Do you know what?
How long did you go for? Just 2 days?
No, like 4 or 5 days.
Okay.
I took a small suitcase and a night duffel bag to the church retreat. And
You gotta learn to pack light.
do you know what it is? I just
Yeah, she
want to
needs
have.
to,
I took my
seriously.
blow dryer, I took my straighteners, and we was going from like Friday to Sunday.
Ah, but then you got the separate makeup case.
Ah,
That's the difference.
I hear that.
Just a small. It's not even that. It's just like I like to have choice. I don't want to feel limited.
No, choice is not good. Choice takes up time in your mind.
Oh,
That's why I always just wear a white t-shirt. I'd have to think about it.
Do you know what? They laugh at me, right? Because when we go on holidays, I'll wear white mainly.
Absolutely.
No,
White.
white. Is he a yardie? Why is he wearing all white?
It looks good.
You don't have to worry about it.
No.
No one can tell what kind of clothes you wore last year.
Absolutely.
So, I
White
mean,
t-shirt, yes, but white t-shirt, white trousers,
Yeah.
white trainers. Oh, are we going to a
Simple.
Jamaican party?
it's
No.
not, but not the different kind of mix of clothes, but it's white.
Yeah,
You know, if you really look close, you can see different designs. So,
I'm feeling it.
yeah, no, now your twin, he laughs at, they both laugh at me. He's like, Dad, where you going? Even with Mummy Lynn, where we go, she was like, "Were you in white today?" She takes her whites along as well. And then my friend Wendy, who's now passed away, so rest her soul, we all literally had white, all one
matching.
day, white, yeah.
Yeah.
Literally called it a white day.
So that's nice.
Terrible.
All right, you'll learn soon.
Yeah.
It's because you're young.
When you want to save a bit more money, you learn.
That's true.
No. I hear it if it's like today guys are all wearing white, but as a standard, no thank you. No. But yeah, cool. So you had your first child at 19, then had a couple more. But you're also an accountant. And so in that week of graduation, did you have your exams as well? I feel like you did. Or you came back from your honeymoon and had your exams.
Yes. Yeah, so done graduation, traditional wedding 1 week. Then we had maybe a 2-month gap. Then we done the white wedding. But I was working during that gap and studying as well. So then I think my wedding was the 12th and my exam was the 20th. So honeymoon, come back, land, exam.
I just think that's so ridiculous. And that's why I think it's so interesting, because I don't know anyone else that's done things like boom, 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 boom.
I can't lie, it's the grace of God though, because I didn't open those books on holiday. Like, I mean, it's honeymoon time, so we got priorities. So yeah, I didn't
Thank
even
God
get
for
to
that
study.
photographic memory.
That's it. I think, yeah, when it comes to exams, I've got a good memory.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so then take us through the journey of like thinking, I'm an accountant now, I've qualified, to I want to start my own and do it for myself and work for myself. Like, was that daunting, or was that just naturally the next step?
So I think, you know, in our 10 years, or, well, I guess it's 8 at the moment, but it's going to be 10, so I'm calling it 10 years. We've only ever had one, like, real disagreement, and it was over that.
Really?
Yeah. So I think when she was pregnant with Levi, which was maybe 1 year into marriage,
Okay.
I was like, I'm done with working for other people. You know, I'm South London black boy, so, you know, I'm going to be my own boss, going to make my own money. And that's all that I was thinking about. Whereas she was like, you know, we're about to have a child. There's bills to pay, there's priorities, and, you know, the family needs some stability and security. So that was contention between us. We spoke to a very wise man, and he said, you know what does she need? And she said she needs me to qualify. And then at least, like, you've got something to fall back on, and then go and do your thing. So took that on board, qualified. And then in that time, I realized I've actually, because I studied audit, right? So I didn't even know how to do accounting. It's just it's kind of another division that I'm going to go and do, but I don't really know how to do it. So I started contracting, but taking on private clients at the same time. And I started really small. So I had this one girl, charged her £25 a month.
Oh,
And
you can't. Yesterday's price, but not today's. You
not
will
today's
not, you will
price.
not get that.
And
today.
I didn't have a clue what I was doing. So really, I was charging her to teach me.
Right.
And I was just going through the process, learning. And then eventually, you know, you get confidence, you know what you're doing. Then start adding more people. And then I think whenever you joined is when we, like, really blew up.
That was 2021.
Something like that, yeah. So probably 3 years of just kind of trial and error, learning the craft. And then maybe, 2021 took off.
And then how was that balancing, like, at the time you didn't have your youngest, so you had 3. So you've now got 3 kids. You're now doing your own business and contracting at the same time. How do you have, like, all I can hear now, is that lady saying we've all got the same 24 hours. Molly May.
Beyonce has the same 24 hours in a day that we do. And I just think, like, it's literally, you're given one life and it's down to you.
Because your 24 hours don't seem real. How did that feel for you, going through, like, okay, 3 kids, got a wife, we've got to, like, I got to do this. I got to get this money back tomorrow. Like.
Yeah, but it's not just TJ's his wife as well.
Yeah.
It's a team job. It's a team effort here.
And that's the answer, really. It is her. You know, obviously we've had this baby now, and I'm realizing I don't think I raised my other kids because I'm really with this baby, and I'm like, I know you. But when Levi was 1, I didn't know him. I went to work. I done what I needed to do because I was studying and working.
Yeah.
I remember the first night he slept through the night was the day of my final exam.
Oh, wow.
So all my other exams I done sleep deprived. Like, it was crazy. But she really, that's ironic. She really raised those children. And she also was training to be a lawyer. So I don't know how she done it.
Yeah, no, the both of you, a lawyer and
She's
accountant,
crazy.
training,
Yeah. but
family.
she's just
faith.
incredibly, like, disciplined and focused.
Does that make you more disciplined and focused?
No.
Oh.
No. I admire her because I'm, like, very tunnel visioned. So even I'm going to record this, I started thinking about this morning. Before that, I was thinking about whatever I was doing yesterday. I can only focus on one thing.
Yeah.
Whereas her, she's just over everything. She understands all the things coming up. She balances it. She gives up sleep, which I'm not as willing to do. I need at least the 6 to 7 hours. I've seen her stay up all night, do 2 hours and go to work. Like, yeah, she's the reason.
And this is why TJ, if TJ's asked, like, to give marriage advice, his line is marry well, because that's what I did. And, like, that's all he says, marry
Yep.
well.
That's all I've got.
Marry well. So how do you know you marry well?
You don't, and that's why it's risky.
Oh, that's a good. Yeah, how saying that, like when people say, "Oh, marry your friend," I get the sentiment, but I don't think people actively go out to marry someone that's not their friend.
Yeah.
So when people say marry well, is that? But do people go out with the intent not to marry well?
No, they don't, and that's why I don't really give advice, because I think you go into marriage, you think you know the person, but they're 20 to 30 years old or whatever. They're not going to be the same person at 40, 50, 60. Things are going to happen. There's going to be bereavements. There's going to be promotions. Going to be all these things that are going to change who they are.
Yeah,
And so
definitely
it's really
different
it's
interests
risky.
and different interests and everything else as well.
Absolutely.
Time goes by.
Absolutely. You can marry a guy, he's a Christian. In 5 years' time, he's a Muslim. Do you unmarry him? You can't. And so it's a massive gamble that you take, and you hope that you've chose well. And that's why I don't like to give too much advice, because I can't foresee who that person's going to be. I think there are obvious red flags that you can say, you know, that person I can tell is going to be a problem. But you can't tell something's going to be good.
Yeah. You can't. I saw someone say that marriage is the only contract you sign without knowing like the outcome.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I was like, scary scenes. But
Absolutely. But you hope is a good person, and that you're both willing to grow and to commit to each other through that growth. So, you know, if you go left, let's go left together. Or if you go left and I go right, let's agree that we're coming back in a month's time or whatever. Like, you find ways to make that work.
yeah, I think one thing that I like about you and Tara that I saw when you first started doing life groups, and we were coming to your house. Life groups is like a fellowship that our church does in your local community. And so we were going to their house, and I think Tara might have been at work, and then you made like coconut rice and teriyaki chicken, and I was like, oh, like you're really cooking and putting the kids to bed and doing all of those things. And you was just like, yeah, like it's a team effort, so it has to get done. And I think all of the guests that we've had so far, so yourself, Michael, and Uncle Wayne, have all really emphasized the importance of being active in your children's life wherever you can be, and not necessarily seeing things as a this person's role and this person's role, but what needs to get done for the greater good. And so I really enjoy I haven't had a conversation with anyone that's like, no, the woman should do this, the man should do that. It's very much like you do what you need to get done so that the house can function.
Absolutely. And I think that's exactly what it is, right? What does the family, what does the unit need right now? And I always,
It needs a team.
yeah, exactly.
Without the team, you're not doing it.
So
No.
I always describe it as like, in football terms, like you play the midfield, right? There's times you got to drop back and defend. There's times you got to push forward and attack. If you're just, I only score goals, what happens when the defender's injured?
Funny you should say that, because just before you said, I was thinking of a football team as well.
Yeah,
but then
yeah,
you
yeah.
mentioned it, so I was like, yeah, okay. We're going to see on track here.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to move together, and that teamwork is the most important thing.
Especially for the young kids as well. Anyway, mum and dad's working together. You know, it works well. If you just get up, do what you have to do. You look after the kids while she's getting breakfast ready. You're washing them.
That's it.
Getting them ready. The bags are being packed. Everything moves smoothly. But if you are just selfish, it's not going to work, and that's when the marriage is going to go downhill.
Yeah, and that's why I was a single parent. My mum was a single parent. So I have so much respect for people that can do that on their own.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Because if you think about it, my mum was washing and she was getting me ready at the same time. And the thought of doing that is crazy. So, yeah, a lot of respect for people that can do it alone.
Yeah. And I think the question that I wanted to ask you is, because I met TJ at church, so we're both Christians, and so I know that his faith governs a lot of his decisions and his lifestyle. How do you think being a Christian impacts your fatherhood journey? I think that's my question.
That's a very good question. I think at a high level, being a Christian taught me that you need to be teachable.
Okay.
Maybe it's from the church that I came from, but they were very on like, you need to be able to be corrected. And I think that is so important as a parent, whether that's from your children themselves, which when they get to teenage, trust me, they'll correct you,
Oh yeah.
or from your partner that you're raising the child with. You know, you're not doing everything right. And you need to be able to adapt continually. That, okay, I give an example. Last week I told off Levi, and then Tara sat me down and said, the way you done it was too aggressive. But me, I just thought, you know, he needs some discipline in his life. But I think we've got to where we are because we can challenge each other in that sphere that, you know, that wasn't the correct route. And then adjust. So I had to go back. I apologized to him. And, you know, since I'm more conscious of the aggression in telling him off. And then I think I see it most evidently with our oldest child. She's a teenager.
Right.
That's kind of transitioned into how we deal with her. It's very much, okay, let's have a conversation about it. Because, you know, you grow up and you give them a smack on the wrist or whatever you're allowed to say online. You try and keep them within boundaries, and then you get to a point where that doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, what am I going to do now? And really, the only thing you have left is conversation.
Yeah.
Let me try and correct you through. Let me hear what you're thinking. Let me present why I think that's wrong. And let me try and bring you onto a better path.
Right.
You know, I can't just, you're 18 years old and I'm just smacking you. It doesn't make sense anymore.
Well, I remember some occasions with Natalie, right? Sometimes she's like, get on my nerves. That's one of my favourite things. Like, we have a conversation and it's not going right. And all of a sudden, I need to say, I'm screaming, Dad, if you're screaming at me, it's not going to help. You know, I'm not hearing you, Dad. And I'm like, Natalie. And she's, Dad. And this is like, you know, it's not helping.
Yeah.
So I learned from that as well. It's like, okay, you know what? Screaming and shouting doesn't work. So I learned from her that, you know, okay, I've got to try the more casual approach. It does work, I must admit, yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
I think conversations are helpful because you feel like you're being heard.
Yeah.
Because if you're shouting at me, I've literally shut off. Like, once my dad starts shouting, I'm like, why are you shouting? Like, why are you shouting? We're right here. There's no need to shout. And the fact that you're shouting and I can see that you're angry, it's just like, this is too much. And so system shuts down. And I think the first time my dad apologized to me, I felt like I was so confused. I was like,
This is real.
When was that?
I think you were shouting at me, and then I like stormed off or did something, and I was just like, no, like he was so in the wrong. And then we didn't speak for like 2 weeks, and that's a very long time considering I can call my dad like 3 times. I've probably called him like 3 times today, so 2 weeks was a long time. But I was like, no, he's in the wrong. He needs to apologize. I'm not backing down. I'm not backing down. Then he came and then he was like, yeah, I was actually in the wrong. He said sorry. He bought me.
I'm trying to remember what happened back then.
He bought me chocolates. I think.
God, did I?
Yeah, I didn't even eat the chocolates. I used it as a trophy. I said, wow. I said, I can't touch these
frame that.
chocolates. My dad bought me chocolates and said, sorry? Oh, this is a monumental moment. Like,
I think it is a big moment in your child's life because it's when you show them that you respect them. You know, it's not just a hierarchical relationship, but actually your opinions mean something.
Yeah.
And I'm not always right.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
I guess a lot of it come up from the old school thing, you know. It's like parents always think parents are always right, but they're not, as you just said. And we need to listen and learn from the kids.
Yeah, especially the first child, you know, you're just an experiment. I always tell her that, I'm sorry, but you're the one I'm learning everything with. I've never done this before.
I like that one. Oh, brilliant.
and I think when you have the experiment, the oldest, and then the baby, I think that's why siblings can be like, they're getting 2 different parents because what you did with them, you've got trial and error. And so by the time you get to the baby, like how you're going to parent Jemima now is going to be so different from Esther because it's like night and day because you were young and now you're older. There's so much that's happened in between. And I think with my siblings, they're always just like, Natalie gets away with so much that they didn't get away with. But it's just, our parents were at different stages at those times. And how would they would have dealt with you, like, how Andre might say dad dealt with him and how he deals with me is going to be very different because of our placings. And I saw someone say that no child gets the same parents because
100%.
you're all in different stages. But then, so I think, so your answer to it is that like your faith helps you to be more teachable. So then how now as a Christian, like what are you trying to instill in your children? Because I think sometimes I just think, oh wow, this world is so crazy. Like, how to bring more people into this world is a bit ridiculous. And like, is that something I want to do? But then I think the God says that like, be fruitful and multiply, and that if we don't as Christians have children and aren't raising those children in Christian values, and to be how then can we expect there to be a light in the world? So we actually need to have children that are raised with Christian values, that come to know the Lord, that can then go and show the Lord outside. So like, as a dad, how do you do that with your kids, to be like, because I don't know, did you grow up as in a Christian household? So how is that shift now that you didn't grow up in a Christian household, but you're now raising kids in a Christian household? Like, what's the contrast? How does that look?
Yes, I think my mum's always been quite a moral person. So her morals, I would say, have always been very Christian.
Okay.
So I never had like night and day contrast in that regard. But what I would say is, in our house, we're very conscious about things. I think a lot of Christianity is just being intentional with certain things, right? So one of our things is that who we are in church must match who we are at home. So
That makes sense.
we know so many children that are like, you know, I'm not really into it because my dad dragged me there or my mum dragged me there, and then when I went home he was this and that and he was doing all of this and that. So we're very, very conscious that who we present on a Sunday would always match who we are at home. So our children don't have that this thing is fake. Like we actually live this thing. Second, like when we're doing Christian things, that's a funny phrase.
Christian things.
Christian things. We
What
try.
are Christian things? But go on, say.
I use an example of like hosting people in your house, right? Hospitality is part of being a Christian. We try to communicate it with her or with them that this is what we're doing and this is why we do it. So it's almost like you're learning in lifetime.
Yeah.
And it's not just you read the Bible, oh, be hospitable. No, when she reads that, she's going to go, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
My parents do that. So we try to live it for her. So I keep saying her because she's the oldest, but for all of them, so that they see what we're doing and why we're doing it. And then we just hope, we're very open, right? If you don't believe in this thing, let's talk about it. If you've got a question, let's talk about it. But we just hope that, as the Bible says, raise a child in the way they should go. And when they're old, they will not depart from it. So we just hope that everything we plant into them will come to fruition, you know, throughout their lives.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's good.
Definitely good guidelines there. Practice in the home, but you practice outside.
Absolutely.
You know, what we do outside, basically.
It's just integrity at the end of the day, right? Because if they see that, you know, you go to church and you're a preacher and then you come home, you're swearing at me, they're going to be like, what? Whereas now, I can confidently say my children have never heard me swear. So when they go to school and they listen to certain music and they hear it, it's not as natural to them as someone that hears that from their parents.
Yeah.
And so just building that distinction in them. I'm not ignorant. You're going to hear these things. You're going to see these things. But I want you to know our family doesn't stand for that. And so even on the topic of music, we've said recently, like, we appreciate you listen to certain things. You don't listen to that in the house.
Okay.
Not because you can never listen to it. We don't control you like that. You have choice. But understand, this house, it doesn't run like that.
But then, so then where would she listen to it? Like on her way to school? Okay. That's interesting.
It's crazy. These kids, they've got phones. They've got access to anything they want to see, listen to, whatever.
Yeah,
you
like
can put all the restrictions. They find ways around it. Let's be honest.
But then that's creating a barrier where they're going to hide and do things from you by listening to it.
I don't want that to hide. We know that you do it.
Right.
We're aware of it. But just know that in this house, that's not what we're for. And so you know what our house is for. Do those things in the house. If you choose to vary away from it, you've got limited time to do that because school finishes at 3:20. You need to be home at 4:30.
Gotta cram it in quickly before we get home.
Cram it in quickly. And I do feel that she just doesn't have a taste. I say her again because she's the oldest. She's the most conscious of them. She doesn't have a taste as much for certain things as her friends do. Because I just think your parents can teach you standards, whether that's manners, whether that's music taste. I think your parents instill it in you through what they do and what they play around you. So,
and I guess if they're so happy within the home, they're going to follow what's going on in the home. So they don't need to look outside anyway.
Absolutely.
They've got happiness there already, so why go outside?
Exactly. We hope.
Well, no, I mean, yeah.
Experiment.
Sometimes just can't wait to get home. I'm going to see my dad. Dad, can we go and have an ice cream? Granddad, can we go and have an ice cream? Just like, those kind of things. But then some kids just, I don't want to go home. Oh, it's boring when I get home. Others like, no, I'm going home.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's nice.
I think that's another one that's big for us is like when she's old, she's independent, will she want to come home? And I can tell you will want to come home.
I don't want to leave.
There we go.
Well, I can't go on holiday unless I'm going. It's like the same situation.
Yeah, I think creating an environment where you like your house, you actually like the house and the people in it makes a big difference. Because I found that when I went to uni was kind of the space was like, oh, I'm breaking free, like I've got no parents, I can do whatever I want to do and live my life. But I was just like, my parents didn't restrict me when I was at home, so I don't feel the need to now go out and take this time to be a freedom because I had freedom at home. If I wanted to go out, I just had to like ask my mum and dad, communicate what time I'm coming back or where I am. But there was no restriction on doing those things that make me feel like, oh, now when I get to uni, now when I'm not there, it's a new sense of freedom. Yeah. It just was weird to me. I was just like, you guys are behaving weirdly. But I had to understand that not everyone was raised the same way. That like, if I was like, I was 15 and they had these like under 18 parties and stuff all going, I didn't hide that from my mum. I'm like, oh, mum, there's a party here and I'm going here. And then that was a conversation. Or like, if I'm coming home from the library or something, I'm calling dad to be like, oh, can you pick me up? Because it's 10 o'clock at night, I'm coming from the library. But I would never just be out doing anything. And because I like my house and I like the people in my house. And I think because there was so many of us, I like the noise and the hustle and the bustle of the house. And so when you come home and it's quiet and there's no one here, it's like, oh, like, where is everyone? You want to have a good time because it's a safe space. So I think that is really, really good. I think I'm intrigued just because I think we were raised with good morals, but my parents didn't make us go to church or any of that stuff. Like I found Christ, I would say, on my own in that sense. They put us in Church of England schools. So they always had a consciousness of God. Primary school, I went to all girls Church of England school. So there was a consciousness, but it wasn't a forced thing. And so I think I'm thinking like, oh, like when I have kids, like how will it be different for when I grew up? So I think what you said is really like,
I think that schooling choice is even more important now, just in terms of the things that are put into your children. Levi was 3 in nursery when they were telling him the king and the king, and you can wear dresses if you feel comfortable and blah blah blah. So
you can wear dresses if you feel
3 years old, if you're gonna teach, you're gonna teach. But I just think there's certain things children don't need to know, irrespective of a gender or religion or whatever. Kid just doesn't need to be conscious of king and king. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So relationships shouldn't even be taught in any sense, I think, at that age. And so the school choice becomes so much more important because a Church of England school is less likely to push certain things onto the children. So that's always been a non-negotiable for us as well. At the primary level, they've always gone to Church of England or Catholic school. At the secondary level, okay, you're at the age now where we can talk about things. So our daughter goes to a more mainstream school and we just talk about these things at home. But at that young, impressionable age, if you're told, oh, if you're a boy but you want to be a girl, you can be a girl, it's just, whatever my teacher said is true. So it's very important.
There's so much things to like consider, because I don't think you had to consider when you were picking schools for us, like, these are the things that they're teaching us now.
No, it wasn't. No,
never.
Definitely wasn't at that stage now.
Yeah, so it's like things are changing. Like your parenting, things that you have to consider are very different from what you had to consider when you were looking, and then it'll probably be different when I'm having to look. But it's just constantly thinking, and that's like being a parent. I have to constantly be thinking about someone else's well-being. Like I'm like, wow, these parents are this is a full-time job.
It is, and I would say that was one benefit of being a young parent is that I'm less removed from school. And so the things that are going on, although it has changed, it's changed less, if that makes sense. Yeah. Oh, right, I was there recently. Yeah. Even I can't come home, I've got a PE club, blah, blah. I ran that one as well. So I still remember what I was really doing when I said I went to club. So maybe you're not going to club, or maybe I'm going to call the teacher and make sure you're there. So I think that is one benefit, that we're closer in generation, at least with the first two. The second two, they got big bro and big sis to
Help them.
keep us in the loop.
And big brother and big sister is going to guide in the same way you guided big brother and big sister. Anyway.
Yeah, that's
so it's going to continue that way. So at least you don't have that. You don't have them to worry about the younger ones.
That's what we hope. So much is riding on the experimental child. Like, I see Levi, when he gets in a car, he will open a book and start reading.
Oh.
But he got that from big sis.
Okay.
Because mum was on the first child, you need to read.
Yeah.
Right.
And then when she learned to love it, she's just taught the other ones. We don't even have to think about it. So there's so much
But
responsibility.
are you not worried, but like thinking that the oldest has now become like a third parent in the sense, and they will have that level of resentment. I know like Nigerians are like firstborn daughter syndrome, where it's like the firstborn daughter has so much responsibility, but whereas the boys maybe like firstborn boys have responsibility maybe more financially, but not as a homemaker. Like, are you conscious of that and being like, okay, we don't want her to feel like she's a third parent?
Yeah, definitely conscious of it. I think in life, the opposite of Twitter. On Twitter, everything's extremes, right? Either they should be the third parent, or they should do nothing. Real life is somewhere in the middle, right?
Yeah.
And I think that there is a balance where we are conscious, actually, Esther had to help out yesterday. Let's give her time off so she does nothing today. But at the same time, being a member of a family is a responsibility.
Yes.
And I don't think that's taught to people. But actually, if you want to be in this house, these are your chores. Here's how you help out. Here's what's expected of you. And I heard somebody say the younger generation know everything about their rights and nothing about their responsibilities.
That's a good thing.
And so there's that balance there that, I'm not going to give you everything. I don't want you to grow up with trauma, but I'm also not going to give you nothing.
Yeah.
Because you do need to learn. You are the big sister. There is something on you. Big bro, little bro is looking up to you.
Yeah.
What you do, he is going to copy, and you need to be conscious of that. And I'm the only one that can give you that consciousness.
Yeah.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
From generation to generation, people do the same.
Yeah.
The young ones look up to the older ones, and
Yeah,
they just need that guidance, really.
absolutely.
And if once we do it, once we start out doing it as parents, then they'll follow right through.
Yeah.
But there,
Yeah. I think just to start wrapping up, I think my question that I always ask our guests is like, what's your most favorite thing about being a dad, or your least favorite thing? One of the two.
So my least favorite thing is that babies do not know what the weekend is.
You want to elaborate?
It was bank holiday weekend.
Yeah.
And she woke up the same time on Saturday, Sunday, on Monday, and on the school day. Give me a break.
But you
I'm
wanted
sure
her
you
to
did the
sleep.
same when you were young. When you was a
I did,
baby as
but
well.
someone needs
You
to
wanted
teach
her to
these
sleep
kids.
through the night. Now she's sleeping through the night,
Yep.
but now she's waking up too early.
Too early. But obviously that's a jokey answer. But
Yeah.
on a more serious level, it is that this is full time. Like there's
Yeah.
literally no
Like it.
days off.
Yeah.
It's bank holiday for you. For me, it's just a normal day that I'm not working. I'm still waking up early, still changing nappies. I'm still cleaning up after she eats and takes the rice and throws it on the floor for some unknown reason. Every single day. And that's hard.
Okay.
What was the other question?
I said it was either least or favorite.
Okay, right.
And then this question is more this way because I don't have any kids. But like, if you wanted to ask Dad anything, because obviously he's had 6 kids to 3 grandkids, and has been in the game for a bit longer.
Yeah, okay.
Any question you'd want to ask? Or
Yeah.
force?
No, please don't have any questions.
I've got a question.
Michael did that before, Big Mike.
I've got a question.
Go on, shoot.
And it's kind of off the back of what we were talking about. So obviously I know Natalie speaks like so highly of you. What sort of things do you think you've done to kind of build that relationship?
One answer.
question.
I'm always being there.
Okay.
No, Dad, you have to give a different answer because you give the answer every time.
But it's the truth.
No, give another one. Think about it.
Being there.
Think about it.
It's hard. I can't say it's hard because the thing about I'm always there. So it's like, if there's any issues, like pick up the phone me. If you've got any problems, call me, whatever it is. The other day, for example, say she had an incident, phone rang, Dad, someone just ran into my car. I dropped there was in the garden doing something, I dropped it and I went. Right? When she was at uni, when she's on the way home from uni, she'll ring me. Dad, I'm on my way home. I'll be driving. I'll just pull over. I'll talk it. Wait till she get to uni and stuff. So I'm always there. So it's the answer. It's always being there. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm gonna stop doing what I'm doing, and I'm gonna be there. You know. So it's,
do you think that came at a cost for you?
Of course. In what sense?
Like, have you missed things in order to be there for her? Do you not end up at work, for example, because you're...
Do you know what? I don't. Some people cherish money. I don't. I don't. Money is not my main object in life. So, not just naturally on the kids. There's other people as well I do things for. But like, I end up losing out doing things for people where I should have been at work. You know, so it's just in my nature to help. But most of all, for my kids, I'm always there.
Of course.
My son, Andre, is like, Dad, we're going away. Can you have the dog? Right? Now, just doesn't like dogs.
He's allergic.
He's allergic to dogs and stuff, sorry. So, but it's somehow I was like, okay, you know what? We take the dog in the outhouse. We'd be out there on the garden. So it doesn't affect Naja. But at least Andre can get away and do what he has to do. So I'm always there. Blair, Calvin's like, anyone can have Blair this weekend? Right? Everyone's going to work. I met them going to work. But no, I'll have her. So it's whatever's needed to be done, I just make myself available.
That's good.
You know, so that's what I'm saying. Oh, I'm always there. And they know I'm always there. Mum, she said, Harry, what you doing? I'm Blair's coming on this weekend. I said, but I'm going to work. Okay, I'll ask the other kids. And it's like, okay, don't worry, I'll be there. So it's you know, it's not just Blair, it's everybody else. Anyone, whoever. So I'm always there.
That's good.
when needed anyway, kind of thing.
Yeah. I think the answer is boring, but I think it's true. I think it's the accessibility that he will answer the phone. I just think knowing that he will answer the phone, and I think...
Well, actually, the truth, I think what actually makes it easy is my job. Okay. Because I don't have to answer to anyone in that sense. So, play with the mic, okay. Yeah, so it's just like, you know, you could just stop driving, switch the engine off, do what you have to do. And that was actually going back in time as well. When they were at school, at primary school and stuff, they had to go to work, they have to get to the doctor's hospital or whatever. I could just stop doing what I have to do, just go and deal with it. And that spans back from then, actually, right through till now still. So that's where the answer comes from, back then. There you go.
Yeah, it's a boring answer, but it's true. I think accessibility...
So we're not going to get that question again, are we?
No, every guest I'm going to ask them, but you just have to... I might have to think of another question because I know the answer's going to be there. Be there for your kids, be accessible, which is true.
It's very true.
Because I think, like, if your daughter knows that if anything happens, she can call her dad and her dad will come. Like, I know that my dad's going to come. And I think my dad said one thing to me in school that I was just like, yeah, I rate this. Like, obviously I wasn't a bad child. I actually did very well in school, but I have a mouth that can tend to be a little bit sharp. a little
we
bit
all know
sharp.
about that mouth.
But what I appreciate about both of my parents, because my mum has literally said the same thing, is that if at school something happens, they will support me. Yeah. Their instinct is to support me over the teacher as long as I'm telling the truth. Okay. So essentially, they will always back it if I'm telling the truth. But if they back it for me and I'm lying and I make them go and look silly, then all hell will break loose. So I remember I got into like a little thing with a teacher and I literally called my dad there and then at school. And then I told him about the situation and then dad called the school. And then they came to me and was like, did you call your dad? I said, I did. He said, why did you call your dad? I said, because he told me I should call him if I need anything. And they were like, but you're not supposed to be on your phone. I said, I know, but I needed to tell my dad. And so then my dad and my mum came and then they had a meeting with the teacher and everything got sorted. But in those instances, I knew that my parents are going to back me, like, as long as I'm telling the truth. So if I'm not lying, there's no reasons why my parents won't support me. And so in the case of anything's happening, just tell the truth, be honest. And not that there won't be ramifications, because if I'm being rude to a teacher, they will definitely pull me up about it, but there won't be those parents that literally just always assume that the teacher's right. Yeah. They won't always say that you're wrong and you have to do this, but they will listen to what I'm saying and then hear what the teacher said. Yeah. And so it just created a level of safety of knowing that my parents are going to hear me, they're actually going to listen to me, and they're not just going to take the teacher or anybody's side instinctively, but they will listen to me. So I think, just knowing that your parents are accessible and hear you, I think will make it for a better place for you wanting to come back. Because I'm like, my parents will hear me, and my parents are accessible. So,
and it's not just Natalie, by the way; it's all of them. Yeah, I remember it's like Naja had his issues, not just school, but and the teacher was like accusing him of saying something that was wrong, and eventually they realized that she was saying what she was accusing them of was wrong. But we stuck by him, because if you just say, okay, why did you do that? Why did you say that to the teacher? He said, Dad, I didn't do it. That's not. She took it the wrong way, and eventually they admit that it was taken the wrong way. So that gives them confidence that you tell the truth, we will stick by it. Yeah,
that's good.
And it works. So good.
Yeah, I think that's a wrap. Thank you for coming, TJ. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
So yeah, guys, if you've tuned in for this long, you most definitely need to be subscribed. You need to like, you need to comment. Then you need to go over to Spotify and you need to follow and leave a 5-star review. Thank you, guys. See you next time. Bye.
Have a good day. Bye, bye.